Outside the Kabul airport, thousands still waiting, hoping to get inside and to get on a flight.
Children have been separated from their parents in crushing crowds.
In a home in Paso Heights, Afghanistan isn't a forgotten headline or a country in crisis a world away, but a constant presence.
Like those videos, every day he sent me. This is their house.
Every day, a new video from her brother.
These are the Taliban.
The Taliban searching outside for him.
See with the gun.
Sarah's brother, mother, sister-in-law, and niece are all in hiding in Afghanistan, all because her brother spent the last 10 years working for the United States troops as a driver and translator.
3-4 times they tried to kill my brother.
Out of concern of retaliation, she asked us to hide her identity, so we'll call her Sarah. In 2017, Sarah and her husband immigrated from Afghanistan to Sacramento because of her husband's work with U.S. forces.
He came by SIV, a special immigrant visa.
She assumed the same would happen for her family, as her father and brother also worked with the U.S., but tragedy struck.
Taliban killed him in 2018.
These images provided to us by Sarah, too graphic to show without blurring, show the aftermath of her father who was killed by the Taliban on his way to work.
Are you scared that what happened to your father will happen to other family members?
Yeah, right now I'm scared.
After her father's death, her family decided to flee on foot.
From Afghanistan to Iran and from Iran to Turkey, like illegal by mountain.
Around 1,400-mile, 2-week journey in freezing winter conditions.
Like 2 weeks, nothing to eat.
When they got to the Turkish border, they were refused entry and forced to turn back, returning to chaos as the U.S. withdrew and Taliban swiftly took over. In their last effort to escape, her sisters went to the Kabul airport and were able to board American military planes. They've since been reunited with Sarah here in Sacramento, helping her take care of her 2 sons, and have been granted humanitarian parole. Other Afghans that made it to the U.S. were given temporary protective status on March 15th.
The president has the authority to designate specific groups of people, usually based on nationality, that are considered to be facing collective harms.
Temporary protected status is only for those already on American soil. It allows them to stay, live, and work for a limited period of time, typically 18 months. The U.S. fully withdrew from Afghanistan in August 2021. Russia invaded Ukraine 6 months later in February of 2022. Yet protected status for Afghans came 12 days after Ukrainians were offered refugee protections.
Well, I think it's really gratifying to see a different response to the Ukrainian refugee crisis, because it's important to understand that the status quo of the refugee situation was already frankly broken.
She said there's nearly 27 million displaced refugees in the world, and fewer than 1% permanently resettle. The U.S. taking quick action and granting Ukraine protected status helps.
But it raises questions for me about what to do with pre-existing refugee situations and that are still ongoing. The Ukrainian displacement has been the fastest, but it's not the largest.
She said the 3 top refugee communities in the world include Syrians, Venezuelans, and Afghans.
Our responses to Ukrainians should help us reflect on what we could do for other communities that are also facing severe human rights concerns and experiences.
She estimates protected status will be granted to 74,000 Ukrainians and around the same for Afghans, so 148,000 between the 2 groups, not including those under other visas. Unlike humanitarian parole, temporary protected status applications are simpler and faster.
So that, I think, is a huge advantage.
But the disadvantage is for those not yet in the United States.
One of the complexities, right, is that TPS doesn't help the people who've left behind directly.
Like Sarah's brother. Unlike his sisters, he didn't have a choice to go to the chaotic Kabul airport.
He has one disabled child.
That's why Sarah filed for humanitarian parole for her remaining family members there.
We have all the proof, all the paperwork.
Each application took time.
On one application, we spent more than a week.
Expertise.
And show them to the attorney to check everything is correct.
and money. $575 is what it costs to file a single humanitarian parole application. According to USCIS, since July 2021, they've received more than 45,000 requests for humanitarian parole from Afghan nationals. That's more than $25.8 million they've collected in application fees. As of April 25, 2022, they've denied approximately 2,250, while approving only 270. That means USCIS has made nearly $1.3 million in denying Afghans humanitarian parole applications and approving just over 0.5%.
More than 3,000. We pay for more than 5%.
The application fee for Sarah's family was a hefty sum, but since filing nearly 6 months ago, the only response has been a letter saying it's been processed.
For immigration services specifically, to just be met by silence, kind of what's your message specifically to them?
I don't know why they not respond. It's like they doesn't care about those applications. I will keep fighting with my brother application because he really service for a long time for the US, but he is still live beyond in Afghanistan.